Okay, so how's it going, everybody? Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing great. And yeah, different setup from the previous one. Sitting on this really comfy couch, somehow. I'm sorry if I apologize for looking so bad, but hey, there's nothing I could do here. Today's video, we're gonna be covering some news, some really hot news, like literally. So yeah. Something to drink, and let's get started. But before we get into it, you know what to do. Press on that like button if you found this video helpful, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next budget PC. And you're looking at the BRoll right now. It looks really good. It's gonna be awesome. But the thing is, I'm going to change the case because I'm not feeling that good about it. I'm going to get a case that looks kind of identical to the Montech X1 and the Cooler Master TD500. So yeah, there's that. And yeah, so in case you didn't know, the obvious news that we're like a day or two from now, which is the Intel Core i9-11900K. We've seen some benchmarks, leaked benchmarks from PASSMARK, and it's one of the fastest performing CPU in the single core performance. We're looking at 7 to 10% difference when compared to the Ryzen 5 5950X, which I believe is like a 16 cores CPU. And it doesn't sound really promising, does it? Like, it's an 8 core CPU. It's barely there competing with the highest end AMD chip, which is like 16 cores. So yeah, there's that, but hey, at least it's better actually. And the second news that we got here is also about the 11900K. It was a stress test on the temperature, and it reached a whopping 98 degrees, and it consumed the TDP of around 250 watts. I told you it's gonna be hot. So this like lights up some really interesting stuff here. Like, first of all, this CPU is gonna be a really power hungry CPU. Compared to the previous benchmarks of the Intel Core i9-10900K, which is the 10 cores 16 threaded CPU, consumed around that same TDP and 93 degrees. But it's gonna consume a lot of power, and it's gonna be really hot, and it will take some really interesting stuff, some really high-end cooling solution in order to overclock it to higher clocks and voltages. And compared to AMD, they're not like, they have around the same single core performance or the same IPC. Of course, when it comes to multi-core, maybe that would make a tiny bit of difference, but hey, 8 cores, that's bad, kind of like the gap keeps getting wider and wider, like back then when AMD introduced the Ryzen CPUs. We were saying, if you want a very good CPU for gaming, get Intel. If you want a very good CPU for editing and an acceptable performance in gaming, get Ryzen. Now it's more of like, hey, if you want a gaming CPU, a good value CPU, and a good CPU for editing, streaming, get AMD. But if you want that CPU for competitive gaming like Fortnite, the FPS games, get Intel. So, but not just that, Intel makes it worse for them. The H410M boards will not support the next gen Intel CPU, and still H410 chipset or the LGA 1200 first gen CPU lineup is a really good lineup. And if you got a H410M board and an i3-10100, for example, I just got one, you have a good upgrade path. You can go all the way to the i9-10900. But I guess the best CPU is like the i7-10700, an 8 core 16 threaded CPU that's comparable to the Ryzen 5 5600X. And this is in order to get the most out of your money, from this chipset. The only thing I'm interested in seeing is the predecessor to the i5-10400. Successor, not predecessor, yeah, sorry. And the i7-10700. I'm not interested in these K unlock CPUs, maybe if they bring in some really good gaming numbers, but I digress. If you're gonna play at ultra settings, what kind of a difference it can make. So yeah, if you got the money and you want to get a PC right now, go for Ryzen. I've never been that confident in recommending Ryzen over a platform that hasn't been out yet, So yeah, that goes to tell you how bad Intel is, even though these CPUs might be actually good for gaming, but nothing seems good so far. there's that. And if you like that video, press on that like button. If you want to see more videos of that kind, subscribe. These next videos, these type of videos, soon, not now, I don't know when, but soon, will be on the another channel, and this other channel will have like gaming content. You know, I'm not gaming, I'm be sitting on a mic and game, but it's more of like, you know, PC benchmarks and gaming and tech news. Well, that one is going to be for the more quality content. You see what I done there? Content. And I also apologize for this really bad couch and this tag. Yeah, it's an undershirt, so hey. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.